It's great to be here. Thanks for having us. And I'm going to be presenting you a very interesting case study, I think, because most of the time, city branding projects starts with a very positive approach. Almost two and a half years ago, when Syria-Turkey border relations was on top of the news in every newspaper and in every TV, we received a call from this city called Gaziantep in Turkey. Gaziantep is literally 50 miles away from Syria border. And I'm pushing to the green button, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to position the city where we are, the city is literally like the extension of the Mediterranean to Mesopotamia throughout the history. And it is one of the most important points in the history. City is almost 1.5 million citizens. It's a big city. It's the 5th biggest city in Turkey. And this city literally received 350,000 refugees from Syria in that time, and it's still actually. Maybe more passing through, but 350,000 refugees took place in this town as citizens. It is a big number if you think about, because these people are coming from a huge suffering, and not just suffering, but also when they come to this different culture, even though it's so close, it is a different culture. And there was a lot of big problems in this city. I'm just going to say it, the rapes, burglaries, murders, and all of a sudden the city's culture changed. And I think Turkish citizens, Turkey, Gaziantep specifically, welcomed these people and tried to combine them into their culture. So then the mayor's office realized that they need to give some kind of a message to these people. And that's why they needed to work with the professionals. So this was a big problem, literally. And to be able to resolve this problem, they need professionals. I'm originally from Turkey. I moved to United States almost 25 years ago. I've been living in Los Angeles for the last 20 years. But I know my culture, I know Turkey. So we've been called to go there, and we went there and we realized another problem, actually, because there was a huge problem with different stakeholders in the city. Mayor's office was one thing, governor's office was another thing, city of commerce is another thing, educational authorities has a strong opinion about what it has to be. So everybody has an opinion about their cities and how it needs to be branded. So first thing that we did is, it's a common practice, but we decided to do the interviews with these people. We did so many interviews, but what we did is we record 36 of these interviews on videos. It's 1-hour videos each, and we use these. So what we did is, I think the most important thing is we created a city council. Because from mayor's office to governors, tourism board, chamber of commerce, chamber of industry, universities, and non-governmental organizations, they all get together, and we created this group called City Council. And we told them that, like those Vatican meetings, we're going to close the doors, we're going to make 8 meetings with you, and during these 8 meetings, we're going to close the doors, and we're going to come out of these meetings with a decision. So in 8 meetings over the 6 months period, we're going to resolve this problem, and we're going to come up with a solution. So interestingly, these 36 interviews worked quite well because what we did is we used these videos that we shot in social media immediately before we start doing the branding. So we start sharing the problems. We start sharing people's different perspectives on these videos with the people, with the public. So, and what we also did is later on, we put together a book, interviews book about the city. So whoever the intellectual is interested with these issues will be able to go back and read these interviews. So those videos worked really well because everybody had a very strong opinion. Let's say in one meeting, I'll never forget, the governor came into the room and said that, what are you talking about? Gaziantep is all about pistachio, because it's one of the biggest pistachio producers. City of Commerce did a very interesting survey on the internet, asking 5 questions, like pick one of them as a symbol of the city: pistachio, gastronomy, textile, Gaziantep Sports Club, and one other thing that I forgot actually. And of course, out of these, Sports Club came #1. I mean, just in Turkey, it's not even a first league team, it's the third league team. And how can you pick? Like we just talked about Manchester, like we're talking about Manchester, and they are not even mentioning their soccer teams. But interestingly, it's been picked as a #1. So we need to deal with all of these. So we need to educate these people and talk to them and make them understand what is the city engagement, what is the branding. I'm going to come to that thing later on, but what we did is also, from the citizen engagement perspective, we created these painting sessions, especially with these Syrian kids and other kids, where we asked them, what are they dreaming of as a city in the future? And we ended up having a very interesting visuals. I'm sorry. So as you can see, like, you know, all the kids has their interesting perspectives about their dreams. Actually, that specific one is very interesting. It reminds me of Chagall. So one thing that we realize is what we need to do is, like, not just the interviews, but on top of the interviews, of course, we did a lot of surveys. We asked, we did focus groups with people, we did workshops. And when we start connecting the dots that we collected from all around the country, a clear picture appeared, actually. And interestingly, if you look at that clear picture, it was about the way that they were producing things in this city. So I want to tell you 6 different examples. If you look at this city, they have a very interesting gastronomy. UNICEF and also European Council picked this city an excellence in gastronomy because they have a very interesting foods. They have a dish that in one palm you have 40 pieces of dumplings. So it's almost like madness. They are picking and putting 40 pieces of dumplings in one palm. It's that, like, almost like madly way of doing stuff. One other example, actually, when they were serving watermelons, you know, now they are producing seedless watermelons, but when they are serving more watermelons, they pick out all the seeds in it. That's how they serve. So there's a kind of a like detail-oriented, crazy mind in this city. Baklava is another very good example, actually, because in baklava there is 40 layers of dough, and it has to be transparent, and it has to be put together at 4:30 in the morning. Coppersmith is extremely important. It's one of the basic arts. Embroidery, textile, I'm going to speed up. I realize that I have 7 minutes. And mosaic. It's one of the biggest mosaic museums in the world. Is in this city. And as you know, that putting all those pieces together is literally a masterly form of creating things, as well as embroidery and coppersmiths. Everything is about mastery. So we come up with this slogan, Turkey's masterly people. And to be able to explain this idea, we put together this short film. And this film, not only in English, but also been shown in the local TV in Arabic, in Syrian language, and in Turkish.
Have you ever been surprised by the rising morning sun while working? Ever thought you knew it would go unnoticed? Have you spent hours on a small detail? Whatever it is that you do, have you ever lost yourself doing it? Then been stunned by the result with anticipation? Have you ever learned something by heart just through observation and practice? Have your hands by themselves worked as if they knew what they were doing? Have you ever secretly felt angry at those who told you it wasn't worth it? Did you ever build something piece by piece, thread by thread, letter by letter, something big? Ever been infused by the sound of a fabric, the scent of copper, or the taste of the sun deep in your soul? Have you ever felt happy when tired? They call it weary happiness. Ever heard of it? Did you ever feel at home among others like yourself? Then, you too are from Gaziantep.
So main idea is if you feel that way, you too are from Gaziantep. So you don't have to born in there. You can be Syrian. But if you are masterly, if you do what you do in a masterly form, you are from this city. So that was the message that was given to the citizens of Gaziantep and also to Syrians to invite them. So the other second thing that we did is, I think it's very interesting, we created this interesting logo and a specific font for this city. This octagonal form is coming from coppersmith artwork. It's the basics of putting the surface together for them. So we come up with this logo, and we come up with different color alternatives in the logo for each subject. And this is the font, again, based on that same octagonal form. And this typeface has been given to everybody for free, and typeface named Gaziantep. Actually, I highly recommended to name that font as baklava, but they said that it has to be Gaziantep. So, and these are, you see that, you know, it was almost like a containing device. So everybody was using their own logo. They're using their own iconography with this containing device. So it engaged people. Like many people put their own company logo inside this logo, and they used it that way, and also changed their title of their company with the Gaziantep typeface. So it was a very interesting way seeing the results over when we were working on this on Los Angeles, because people were sending the pieces that they did and asking for our approval. We are like, you know, you don't have to ask for the approval, just seeing that improvisation was extremely interesting. One last thing with campaigning with the citizens is, what we did is we used the real people in our campaign. Once we launched the city's branding, then we decided to create this campaign and explain people that this is their new branding, this is their new slogan, this is the mindset, and this has been also used aggressively in the digital media, but we use the real people that everybody knew, like the big restaurants. And this kid actually in the photograph was a Syrian kid that brought over a very interesting coppersmith style from Syria. So it was a very interesting journey for us in that sense. And basically, it's pretty much it. One last thing that I want to say, I think it's quite important. Like we did so many projects, such as like country brandings, projects in Kenya to Hawaii to Nepal even. One important thing is, I think, welcoming people. I think Turkey was quite interestingly good with that, especially this city. It was hard. I mean, you know, it's very hard all over in Europe. But like when you are literally starting with credit with people, in a city scale or human scale, I think that's very important. Like, you know, starting with a warm welcome and giving credit to them and starting from that point is the most important message that I learned from this whole experience. Thank you.